Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. It's really been the season for quite some months now for insensitive comments. And going further, when it comes to subjects like rape, the comments are not just insensitive, they are outright offensive. So much so that some people have started to say that perhaps it's time for there to be stricter punishment. Maybe FIR should automatically be lodged the minute a politician or somebody else makes a loose comment about something like rape. Perhaps they should be arrested on site, and maybe that is going to get people to be a little more careful about what they say. Because it's always easy to make a comment and then come out and apologize. Well, we've got a panel together here who we are going to try and take a look at what can actually be done to try and bring some decorum into political discourse, and specifically on questions like rape and crimes against women. And those should not be things that should be bandied around too easily. So a great panel joining us. I'm going to start off by welcoming Senior Advocate Mr. Tapas Pal, also from the Aam Aadmi Party, but great to have you. We'll be having both your hats on, as it were. Kiran Bedi, great to have you with us. We have with us Gaurav Bhatia, head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party. The Samajwadi Party has made some rather loose comments, which I'm going to get you to either defend or clarify on, as the case might be. Kamini Jaiswal, Advocate Supreme Court. Ma'am, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Sambit Patra of the BJP. Shobha Oza, spokesperson of the Congress Party. And we are being joined also from Bangalore by well-known sociologist, Professor G.K. Karant. Thank you all for being with us. Now, just a quick glimpse. I'm not going to air all the offensive remarks that have been made, but just a quick glimpse of some of the comments we've heard in the recent past.
ये एक सामाजिक बुराई है, सोशल क्राइम है, जो व्यक्ति और महिला और पुरुष के ऊपर निर्भर रहता है। कभी सही भी है, कभी गलत भी है। अब जब तक शिकायत नहीं होती है तब तक कुछ नहीं होता। अब कोई अपने घर में सुसाइड कर लेता है, और भाई सुसाइड क्यों कर रहा है? तो ये मानसिक उसके जो है, जब संतुलन खो बैठता है आदमी, तो वो है। तो इसके लिए मुलायम सिंह जी या अवलेश जी या ये क्या करेंगे बेचारे?
ये इंडिया में चल रहा है, बढ़ रहा है, बहुत खतरनाक और बहुत अश्लील है। लेकिन ये भारत में नहीं है, ये इंडिया में है। जहाँ इंडिया नहीं है, केवल भारत है, वहाँ जाके आप देखिए, वहाँ ये बातें नहीं होती आज भी।
पहले मेरठ में जिस लड़की का बलात्कार हुआ था, उसको 25,000 रुपया दिया। जहाँ दूसरी जगह बलात्कार हुआ, गूंगी बहरी एक नव विवाहित औरत का, उसके पति को 25,000 रुपया दिया। फिर तीसरी जगह गए, जो मारा गया था, मारी गई लड़की 14 साल, उसके बाप को 75,000 रुपया दिया। मैं कहती हूँ, एक दे ऐसा पैसा मायावती के मुंह पर और कह दे हो जाए, 1 करोड़ रुपया तुमको देने को तैयार है।
Okay, I'm trying to decide which of them was the most offensive, and it's probably very difficult to actually pick between them. And those are only some of the comments that we've heard in the recent past. So, what should be done, Mr. Phulka, to people who make comments like this?
It is clearly an offence. Under Section 115, it is clearly an offence.
No, Tapas Pal's comment you're saying is an offence.
That's right. Now, before I go into the legalities of this, in our country, whatever a political leader says, normally the followers take it as this is a legal command, and they tend to follow it, whatever the command is. So the political leaders has more responsibility than the other people while giving the command, and if they are giving a command which is an offence, that should be matter taken much more seriously than command given.
So one has to be insensitive,
now one thing,
but you're saying the minute somebody is actually saying, I will ask my cadre to go and rape somebody,
I give you an example. Now in our country we have seen, when a political leader says in the riots, go and kill the people of the community, the people blindly follow them, go and kill them. So this is the kind of the faith the followers have in the political leader. So they should have more responsibility, and they should be dealt with more sternly when they make this kind of a comment.
Okay. Kiran Bedi?
Clearly an offence. It's clearly an offence under Chapter 5 of the Indian Penal Code. It comes under abetment. Now here the Member Parliament of Trinamool clearly asked for attempt for going and getting raped or rape or even raiding or causing grievous injury. It was all a call for committing crimes.
What
it was
happens
abetment.
what happens when he comes down and says, oh, I apologize for it?
That doesn't matter. Listen, then if you go for apology in the Tihar jail can go empty, everybody will give you a written apology. So the whole prison will get empty. So crime is a crime. And I'm surrounded by lawyers here who could give you a better answer. But
that's why I've got all these lawyers.
I'm only linked to Tihar jail. Everybody was willing to apologize.
That means an apology is not enough.
Apology is not just, it's a crime against the state.
Seeing as we're discussing what happened, what Mr. Tapas Pal said, we are starting off by discussing what he said. Here's been what the take of the Trinamool Congress on this entire matter has been. They couldn't join us on the show. Here's what the Trinamool Congress has been saying on this.
I am the chairperson of this party, so whatever Tapas Pal has said, my party people, Mukul Roy General Secretary, Derek O'Brien said, we condemn this, it is my party decision. And they said he has to apologize for all these things. It is not the word that we are supporting, because we don't support this. My party is very transparent. It is an individual, his utterance that he should not do it. The film area and the political area is different. So we have said that you have to apologize for this unconditional apology. Number 2, we have already asked the clarification, our party. Number 3, we will not allow this type of things. So he has to apologize to the public unconditionally. If we don't do it, then party will take action.
If the unconditional apology is rendered, that will be sufficient as far as the party.
What do you think that I will kill him? What can I do? Whatever I can do, we can do it through our policy, through our system. What is the system? I cannot say he's a mature man. If anybody utters some insensitive utterance, party already alerted him. Party already cautioned him.
Those kind of statements made by Tapas Pal are quite unacceptable. They are in bad taste. They shouldn't have been said. But since then, he has written an unconditional apology to the party. The tone of that letter, the tone, the content and the manner in the letter, his unconditional apology, apologizes to his colleagues in the party, to women of Bengal, the people of Bengal, the people of India, his family, everybody. The apology, the tone is very contrite, and in that spirit, the matter ends there.
Sambit, what line would the central government be taking on this issue? Would you support blanket FIRs and against anybody who makes an insensitive comment?
See, as far as the number of comments that you show...
I mean, actually, let's separate insensitive comments with actual incitement to violence.
Well, most essentially, one has to remember over here, what happened with the TMC MP was actually criminal intimidation and threatening. It was not an insensitive statement or unsolicited advice. Many MPs or member of parliaments or politicians, in fact, go on for unsolicited advice. I believe they need to be rigged in. It's not that they can have a law against them, but definitely anyone who crosses the Lakshman Rekha, the line where they go to the extent of criminal intimidation, go to the extent of seeing to it that the social fabric of this country is somewhere jeopardized, definitely the law has to step in there.
Okay, Rita Bahuguna Joshi's comments, which we heard, which was some time back, admittedly, 4 or 5 years ago.
Few years back, yeah.
Few years ago, and she did end up going to jail. There was an FIR filed. That was also almost in the nature of inciting.
No, it was not. She was not inciting. She was just trying to say that just paying off money to a rape victim, does that end the job which has to be taken by the government? Does the government's responsibility just end by paying to the rape victim? That's what she's saying. It was just a very small fraction of what she said you should, but I know the entire case. So she just wanted to say, does Mayawati, when any rape case would happen in UP, Mayawati would just announce of 25,000 or 50,000 and that was the end of the case. But then the culprits were not punished. So she was just asking, is that enough?
Yeah,
is just paying off money to a rape victim is enough?
Yeah, but Shobha, you did not hear through the beef. You did not hear through the beef. We all know, the audience also knows what was in the beef. A name of the chief minister was taken.
No, but that's what she's
asking. She took the name of a lady. She took the name of a lady and said, we have heard unbeef.
She was not taking the name of a, she was,
she has taken name of the lady chief minister.
I don't justify any leader for that matter naming any lady or speaking against any lady. for that matter, Samvit, please listen to the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, what he said.
I don't support him. I don't support him outrightly.
By the way, I was just going to ask.
Would you justify BJP
He
do
said
anything
sometimes
about
it's right, sometimes it's wrong.
Yeah,
I really would like to know when is it right.
But Vikram, at the outset, let the people over here know, let all of my friends know, I am not going to defend anyone who is indefensible, even if he or she belongs to my political
But you were
party.
defending Manohar Parrikar just a few days back over his statement.
Why
shouldn't I get him just because he's the chief minister and the others wouldn't be? Come on.
No.
Manohar Parrikar is also a BJP leader and he's
BJP has never committed such kind of thing. Look into your home. Look into the home Congress. There are CDs. CDs in the racks which I did not speak about. You are a lady, I would be extremely graceful. No, you are a lady, I would be extremely graceful. I would not jump a line. I would not jump a line. But please, I told you, I will not defend him. You don't defend your ministers.
I was just citing the...
Let me just get some legal opinion on this now. Kamini ji, I'm going to come to the insensitive comments and other things, but in a case, in a case where obviously one thing you're saying that I will tell my boys to go and rape somebody, that's an obvious incitement to a crime.
No, it's not
and a crime
I will tell my boys. He's calling his boys to go and do it.
Yeah, so that is a clear-cut case. Now let's take the case of something what Rita Bahuguna Joshi said, or Mr. Rehman of the CPIM had said, made a similar remark about Mamta Banerjee.
Has an FIR been registered in that? The point is, even an FIR is not registered.
In the case of Rita Bahuguna Joshi, an FIR was registered.
I'm talking of the Tapas.
Yeah, Tapas.
Even an FIR is not registered.
The Rita Bahuguna Joshi or the Rehman type of a comment where saying that, you know, what is your, like Mr. Rehman asked Mamta Banerjee, what would be your price to get raped? Made a
it's shocking, you know, this is...
That is a criminal offence also?
It would be. It would be in some ways outraging her modesty also to say that, you know. So it is
it a criminal offence?
I would say that what Mr. Tapas Pal had said, clearly, it is a crime under the Indian Penal Code. And I'm talking about 506 and even 153.
Rita Bahuguna Joshi's comment, is it a crime?
It could be, as Kamini ji said, it could be outraging the modesty of a woman by your statement. And it is subject to interpretation.
So
but FIR is only the beginning of registering a crime.
So
why shouldn't an FIR not be registered in that?
So that is outraging the modesty of a woman. Yes. In your view, that is outraging a modesty. So now let's come to boys are boys. Is that outraging the modesty of a woman?
I was watching your screen very vigilantly. And I want to say this. What did Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav say? He said that whether...
I want to get into defending this. And I have a list of comments made by Samajwadi Party.
I cannot discuss it like this because if you ask me a question, I think I'm entitled to get some time to reply.
But I'm amazed that you're starting off by saying he didn't actually say anything offensive. I thought you'd find another
I did say that and I'm reiterating. Here are my reasons. You might disagree with me, but at least give me an opportunity to speak.
I'll allow you to speak. Then we'll all
Before the Criminal Law Amendment Bill, which was brought in 2013, for the offence of rape, capital punishment was not attracted. Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav said that for the offence of rape, capital punishment should not be given. And I say this, that if that idea is floated and we do not have the numbers in Parliament, we will not succeed. But it cannot be equated to other insensitive remarks where there is a criminality aspect to it. Second, the Women's Commission.
Can I just pause the button? What are you saying? I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Are you saying that Mulayam Singh Yadav's comments or the other comments, Abu Azmi, for example, also from your party, who says that even the woman is guilty. Girls complain when someone touches them, even when someone doesn't touch them. If rape happens with or without consent, it should be punished as prescribed in Islam. This is a comment again made by one of your party members.
This comment of Mr. Abu Azmi was clearly not the party line. It was condemned within a few hours. I was also appearing in many debates and we said that what he has said should not have been said. Now the point is,
so Mulayam Singh Yadav, are you saying his comment is not criminal or are you saying it's not insensitive? What are you saying?
I am clearly saying that whatever Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav said, he said that capital sentence should not be given for offence of rape. So therefore, that is, and if you,
our dear friend Gaurav, be reminded in Hindi as to what Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav said.
Any language that you want to use.
I understand that, but the people also know as to what exactly Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav said. He said, rape के लिए फांसी दे देंगे. लड़के तो लड़के होते हैं, गलती हो जाती है, गलती हो जाती है, गलती boys are misogynistic statement. He says boys are boys.
I'm asking you, are you saying that that's sensitive is not criminal, or are you saying that sensitive is not insensitive? Which one are you saying?
I am only saying this, that if he raises this issue, that there should be no capital punishment, and there is misuse of some laws, he also, in that very speech, because I prepared his reply to the Women's Commission, let me tell you that, and he said that even dowry laws like 498A and SC/ST Act are abused, and you can play the whole speech if I am not correct.
Galti ho jati hai, usko phansi to nahi doge. Is it insensitive or is it not insensitive?
I am clearly saying that phansi nahi doge is a point that needs to be debated.
Insensitive, or was his comment not
I've already clarified that it is not insensitive because he's asking for a debate. He's asking for a debate.
Gaurav, let me remind you. Gaurav, let me remind you. He was commenting on the Bombay Mill case, if you remember.
I know that.
He was trying to appease the
all that I'm saying is that a statutory body sends a notice to it. I'm talking about the Women's Commission.
We
can't. Just 1 minute. A statutory body, Women's Commission is the highest statutory body dealing with such cases. They sent a notice, we sent a reply, they found it to be satisfactory. Now, all that I'm trying to say is, if you talk about Mr. Azmi or any other leader, there is a party line and then there are aberrations.
So if it's Mulayam Singh Yadav, it's okay. If it's not Mulayam Singh Yadav,
it's not about that. What is the sum and substance of his comment is the point that I'm trying to make.
Can I ask Mr. Karan? Mr. Karan, let me get you in on this. The comments that you are actually hearing in these cases, now we are questioning whether they are illegal, whether they are against the law, or whether they are simply insensitive. What would be your take on the nature of the comments that Mulayam Singh Yadav made, for example? Is it a sociological, was it just an insensitive comment? Is it an actually outright criminal comment?
I wouldn't know to use the legal language, but I would think that increasingly public life seems to be as if we are in one of those, in the channels where there is this boxing that takes place, the word WWF, as if we are out there to just say what we want, and the politics of attracting the crowd.
Yeah, Mr. Kant, if I can just put an alternate hypothesis also. One is that, has there been an actual decrease or a decline in the sort of language that is being used? Or there's a second possibility. Today, there are cameras everywhere. There are microphones everywhere. There are people with mobile phones who are taping you. So today, you can't actually make a comment and get away with it. Maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, also these sort of ghastly comments were being made. But not everything was being captured and being brought out. Today, everything gets captured. Is that also a possibility?
It is a possibility, but camera or no camera, I think the politics of hatred has to come to an end.
Yeah, fair enough.
This gentleman, I referred to the comment about getting women raped from the other party by the Trinamool congressperson, Tapas. Obviously, he was speaking to a crowd, and I think he was trying to show off his heroism as a kya bola and talia. That was as if he was expecting a crowd to clap what he said.
You know, the really tragic part was that the crowd did clap. Actually, what I found, perhaps the most horrific part of that entire episode was that the crowd did clap at that point.
It clapped even
so that evening,
Mulayam Singh said it.
That evening he must have had a fulfillment of having made a brave speech, a very brave speech, a firebrand politician. I think the template of politics and politicking seems to have gradually gone away from familiar moral ones that we were familiar with and what we expect in debates of this kind.
Okay. Kiranji, let me ask you the same thesis that I threw to him. Let me come to you, and then I'm going to come back to what we do with insensitive comments. Is it the case that these comments are being made now for the first time, or is it just what I said, that now actually all of them are being brought to light?
Brought to light. Well, they've always been made, but they're being brought to light because thanks to the media and mobile phones are catching it. So people are picking it on the mobile phones. It's coming through mobile phones. So today you have the technology where you record everything. So it's now becoming...
even when you are addressing a group of your party faithful, where you think you'll be able to get away by making these, Talia type comments,
people are recording
it does get recorded and then suddenly it goes
Absolutely, they're recording you and it plays, and it has its value today. It has shelf value too. And you see, Tapas's case came after a couple of weeks, after some time. So it has shelf value. So it surfaced. So it can be used for various purposes. Here it's used, it made news immediately.
So so one is, what does the state do about it? But even from the point of view of anybody making these comments, even when I don't think he would have made a comment like that in a TV studio. He would probably not have made that comment standing in the streets of Kolkata in a place where he thought no one is going to be actually filming it. If he knew there were cameras on, perhaps he wouldn't have made it. But maybe politicians also need to get into their heads now that anything they say could potentially be captured.
I don't agree there. I think he just thought he was a film shot going on and he was being a macho man and he would have said it anyway.
I believe
it's all the mindset.
The touchstone over here should be
comes out.
I believe the touchstone over here should be morality of a person is best studied when there are no cameras and when he is in private.
That's right.
I mean, if someone is something that is in front of camera and is something behind the camera,
then
that should not be cut.
It is not only.
But is it? Can I ask you? Is it something that all parties? Mr. Pulka, let me start with you. Is it something that all parties are also now trying to tell their people? A, you shouldn't be making these comments anyway. But B, if you are making the comment, please recognize in all probability it will be flashing on news channels.
No, I wish.
That's what I'm saying. It is not only that these are offensive if it's made in public. No, when you are telling your own party men, so that is also the instigating. Even if you are telling the 5 followers, that is also the instigation. It's as good as an offense as it is made in the public. So these are the parties. All the parties are here. The party should resolve anybody making these kind of comments. Number one, the party should take a very serious action against the person. Number two.
But Mr. Pulka, why do parties not do it? Even the Aam Aadmi Party, which was a party with a difference, when Somnath Bharti's incidents took place, the party didn't come out and say that we are worried about the way those women were treated, we should have been more careful, we should have been more sensitive. Instead, there was that same blanket coming to the defense of Mr. Bharti, which all other parties do.
Because the residents of the area came out with this, that nothing of this kind had happened. It is the police whose in collusion with the drug peddlers were saying so. The residents of the area said it didn't happen. It's not a case of this kind.
No, but the commission has recently come out with the commission and the report is out now.
Yeah.
I mean, they want a case against him. They want a case against him. The commission to set up wants a case.
This is the best defense for every party and including my party. I am saying that whenever such an incident happens, you start attacking the other party. And I think the change has to come from within. The parties need to introspect and they need to have an internal mechanism to tell their leaders not to do it.
Can I start off by putting a question to all of you? And I'm going to start with you, Kamini ji. Is there any way of doing this? One is you leave it to the good sense of the political parties and to say, let them send out very clear instructions that for God's sake, stop making comments like this. Hate speeches, hate comments, comments against other religions, and now these sort of comments against women and on issues like rape. Is that the solution, or can we now use a legal route as well, which says if a comment like this is made about rape, there should be an FIR, there should be jail sentences?
Yeah, there should be. If it is an offense, there should be an FIR. This is what the law says. There should be an FIR and the person. And the question is, somebody is defending this Mulayam Singh statement. I would have understood that he was starting a debate on no death sentence if he had stopped short of saying that for giving death sentence for rape is not good. But when he went ahead and said, boys are boys, ye galti, how can it be galti? It is not somebody when you hit somebody, you were driving a car and you hit somebody, that is galti. Not when you commit a positive act of commission and omission. How can that be galti?
See, I don't think any of the channels has played the entire speech. And in all fairness, I am saying that even going by the words of Kamini ji, just play the entire speech and see what is the context of his line. You might agree or disagree, whatever it is. But then just playing that line.
Please, can you interpret what he said?
Yes.
Put the most favorable connotation on it that you possibly can. And let's see whether it's still defensive.
I have already done that, Vikram.
No,
I started by saying that the point that he was making in his speech was entirely whether there should be capital punishment or not for the offense of rape. The word selection, I'm saying the word, you catching on those words, and invariably boys will be boys is not what he said in Hindi. You can play it, Vikram, to be fair to my party, you can play that line in Hindi. And if he has said boys will be boys, then I'll rest my case there. But wait, I'm saying it on please.
Just play it.
Boys will be boys.
For his benefit.
Did he say that boys will be boys? Just play that.
Okay,
if I'm saying that, why don't you play? Come on. Why should there be any debate on this?
तीन लड़के हैं, गलती हो जाती है.
Gaurav,
See,
is that the
Vikram,
best defense you can give?
No, I'm telling you what has happened
लड़के
here.
हैं, गलती हो
His
जाती
speech,
है.
first of all, has not been played in totality. And second, a lot is lost in translation. That is the point I'm trying to make.
It was the original speech, not translation.
I feel anyone saying, or for that matter, when BJP ministers and made the comment कि लड़कियां जब लक्ष्मण रेखा पार करती हैं तो रावण उठा के ले ही जाएंगे. These are the comments like
shocking.
These
are
the mindsets. Remind you of Sri Prakash Jaiswal
or
Vijay Singh Touchstone.
Touchstone was not that. Touchstone was a different story altogether.
What different story? How can Touchstone be a different story?
Touchstone was 100% purity. That's what
Touchstone. Oh, now Touchstone becomes 100% purity.
No. What Mr. Jaiswal? I'm not supporting.
No.
I'm not supporting what Mr. Jaiswal said.
Ironically, you are leading.
And Mr. Jaiswal.
Prakash Jaiswal was the Home Minister, and he says that old wives are useless.
I condemn what Mr. Jaiswal said. But what Mr. Digvijay's comment was a totally different comment. Okay, he was praising a person's work. He was not praising a girl.
I don't even want to get into ranking comments and levels of...
Home ministers, responsible people like home ministers and ministers come out and comment like this for rapes, it is shameful.
So, Sambit,
it is not about Congress or BJP or Samajwadi.
This is not Congress,
we should raise above all this, and anyone making such comments should be punished by the party and law as well.
Citizens of this
country. By the party and law.
Can I, Sambit, one second. Can I just say one thing? I think I'm trying to establish what the norms that parties can come up with. For starters, perhaps all political parties should say, look, rape is one of the most offensive crimes imaginable. Yes. Can we please not try and equate it with anybody? Now, your own Goa Chief Minister, so, you're talking about Tunjmal, fine, that's one thing, but the Goa Chief Minister, when he says a woman is raped, she has to deal with inquiries from one inspector. If somebody wants to start an industry, they have to deal with 16 inspectors. Comments like this tend to put rape...
Insensitive, yes. Totally.
I won't defend anything, but I would like to keep the thing in perspective. In the sense, I did not defend previous minister's statement, Mr. Babulal Gaur. Over here, Mr. Parikar has a totally different take. He's, just a second, ma'am, let me complete. It's a very serious issue.
Yes,
he's one of the best chief ministers. No, he knows how to put things in. No, he knows how to put things. He's never made such a mistake. Thirdly, the analogy might, just a second, the analogy might not be very befitting to listen to in the first stand, but if you hear the whole speech, all he says is one of the professors, just a second. No, I've not completed. He's saying one of the professor who advocates small scale industry is of the opinion the small scale industries has to pass through so much of inspection, but rape is not.
You stand by his statement, that is the point.
He only is trying to state that.
How do you
so what kind of analogy a chief minister of a state using this analogy is okay because he's from BJP.
In his statement over here, he only tries to emphasize the very fact that rape is a very heinous crime. It should undergo a lot of scrutiny. But ironically, in spite of this, small scale industries is facing more scrutiny than the rape face.
The context, okay. Mr. Karan, let me just get you before I know you have to leave us. When it comes to making comments on rape in particular, should we just say that, look, let's not try and put it into context. Let's not try and say, yes, this is what I was trying to say. We should just try and avoid having any comments that could possibly trivialize us.
I think not only should we be careful, there should be the sense of horror about expressing such terms or such expressions should prevail. Whatever comes to mind cannot be spoken this way.
Would you leave it to political parties to control their leaders and to deal with it, or do you think certain comments should be viewed from a criminal angle?
I think there is already a crime here and one has to look at it from that point of view. But as a sociologist, I would like to observe one thing. What happens in politics is not as if what's happening in society. Obviously, the language that is being spoken and the template of arguments that take place in different forums is just another level from what happens in everyday life. What happens to women in society, what happens to women in the marketplace, what happens to the vulnerable in various public spaces. I think that is getting expressed in the kind of languages that are being spoken now. Okay, it's not as if this happens only in political arena.
Okay, so it's a reflection of broader society. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Karan, for joining us with that perspective. Kiranji, if I could just now come back to you. on leaving it to political parties is one thing. But now let's come to possible criminal action. The minute somebody makes a comment, loosely or otherwise, the police should swoop in, arrest the person, there should be an FIR, there should be non-bailable warrants. Would you support that?
If it's a criminal offence, what choice does the police have? In fact, they must take suo motu.
Where's the line drawn? Because I agree in certain cases when you're openly inciting violence, that's a crime. In other cases, that's more a question of insensitivity.
If it is a borderline, still register a case to be on the safe side. Put it up for put it up for a legal verdict. Ask the prosecution to give you a legal opinion. Put it up for a judicial verdict. That would be doing justice. Let the magistrate decide whether it crossed the line or didn't. At least police must do its duty.
Pulka, do you agree with that?
Police is duty bound.
When in doubt, file an FIR and leave it to the...
No, if it is an offence, it must be registered. You cannot only leave it to the political party when it's an offence. When it's insensitive, then it comes to that of a political party's role into that. When the political party should not just leave it and drop it because it's not an offence. It still is insensitive and it's improper.
So you're saying that the Tapas Pal type comment being a offence, an FIR has to be registered. Some of the other comments that we've heard are insensitive, so you leave it to the political party.
No, not only. Even the Bahuguna's remarks, that is also an offence.
Yeah, so FIR was registered in that case.
And Tapas
can I
case
just
is
make a distinction here?
Tapas case is an absolute close. It's an open and shut case. That evidence is a clear case of abetment. In fact, two things it's happening. One, an FIR has not been registered yet. Secondly, it's causing disrepute to the parliament. In fact, he calls for suspension even from parliament. I wish the Lok Sabha had an ethics committee which could have placed him under suspension. Rajya Sabha has one which causes disrepute to the parliament. Tell me what more could cause disrepute than this statement. This is the highest form of statement. So I think nothing has happened on both the sides.
Okay. Vikram, I agree with what she is saying. The Indian Penal Code itself says what's a cognizable offence and what's a non-cognizable offence. And in a cognizable offence, the police is duty bound to register an FIR, which the Supreme Court also held. And the offence is clearly stated. On the second side, it's not just about the criminal offence. A member of the parliament or an assembly takes oath under the constitution that he'll abide by the provisions of the constitution. Has he not violated the oath that he has taken? And that is why the speaker or the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha should step in and should suo motu take cognizance in the case of Tapas Pal and find if he is found guilty, then he should be expelled from parliament.
Okay. Now,
what
I'm trying to figure out what happens with the others. Yes.
Yeah, what about the others? They have also violated the constitution. They are not. They can't talk like this about 50% of the population of the country.
Yes.
They are, so they should also be action should be taken.
There's a law.
Different point.
Vikram, can I?
I have a very different point to make in this case, and I believe it's a non-political point though, but Gaurav, it's for you. I mean, the essential point in the Mulayam Singh Yadav case where he made the boys and boys, whatever comment he made.
You can talk about Babulal Gaur first. See, coming from a journalist, I can take it that Babulal Gaur, Manohar Parrikar, Mutalik being admitted in BJP.
Can I make a technical point, Vikram?
I cannot, no, please, with utmost respect, Sambit, I would just tell you, you first talk about Babulal Gaur and we'll have a debate on Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav. I spoke about my leader. Mr. Sambit Patra does not even speak about his leaders. And he will try to talk about other party leaders. Why don't you talk about what do you have to say about Mutalik being admitted in BJP? It is good to bring up others. Mutalik was actually resorting to, he was admitted in BJP and then shunted out because of the media. He was beating women and you want to admit such persons in BJP and then preach us.
Can I complete this point that I wanted to make? So, if you observe very carefully, Mulayam Singh Yadav that particular day was trying to appease a community in a very oblique way. It was in reference to the Mumbai rape case where 3 boys who were in fact sentenced to death belonged to a particular community.
That might be your interpretation.
No, everyone knows
but
that.
I think
and
that has
he was
got
addressing the crowd
where
he tried to appease the community, saying that, well, yes, galti ho jati hai. For
but
that
why,
you cannot
for
be
a change,
angry.
why don't you
and
talk
I
about the
believe
BJP
when
leaders?
such kind of organized, look, this is an organized way of delivering a statement which intimidates.
And what is Babulal Gaur doing? Is that
I'm not defending him. I'm not defending him. That's the reason I say.
So you're not
even
admitting that they made a mistake.
Organized.
Do you admit they made a mistake?
Then it calls for the punishment more so.
Okay, can I what happened when Baba Ramdev said so
should
about the
Dalit
ladies?
Again?
And the BJP will still want Baba Ramdev to get his support.
People, Dalit women's house to
Can
celebrate
Shobhaji, should I bring Abhishek
that
Manu
was
Singh? Will you be
election
happy
time.
then?
Baba Ramdev,
Okay, can I one sec? Okay, one sec.
quiet on that.
Peace, 2 seconds. I just want to put one more thing before we take a break. When you start saying the FIR should be automatically registered, is there a possibility of misuse as we just heard in the case of 498, perhaps that's the subject of a different big fight. Supreme Court had to say that, look, we have to be careful about automatic arrests and all of that. Is there that danger?
But that side, all that risk always remains. Any investigation can be done justice to or done injustice to. But the final matter is before the court. The court can then stricture you, saying you have abused your position, like what's happened in Supreme Court case and recently dowry cases. But it's expected that investigation would be independent, but if it's been abused, the courts can pass strictures. And that can be censured.
Fair enough. I have to take a break right now. I want to get the audience in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back after this break.